feel like?
Hey there, can you please tell me?
What it feel like?
Hey there, can you please tell me?
Greetings I bring from y'all to all those now tuned into Ajah's Updates, where we comb through the headlines and current events to check on the temperature, how we feel about what's going on in this crazy world we're living in. And this is the platform to let your voice get heard while leaving a comment and getting it off your chest. For real, leave them comments if you know how far it goes down them rabbit holes. Don't be shy, but do it in love so we can edify the brethren like iron sharpening iron, so we can all leave here feeling enlightened and inspired, you dig? Let's get into it real quick while we still can and speech is still free. Apparently it is in 2003, but we're now entering into a twilight zone area where we can question, is it free though? Let's visit an epicenter where we can evaluate at what stage we're in, being able to give voice to thoughts that are contrary to the mainstream lines of thinking. Places where you can question narratives in the public forum. With that said, I'd like to spotlight X, formerly known as Twitter, which was purchased by a multi-billionaire Elon Musk. Elon, whether you like him or not, I gotta respect the fact that he took on a fight that he could have locked himself away from in his ivory tower and left it to the powers that be to dictate over us the terms of conditions. With him doing this, he hasn't gained popularity with the people in charge, but he has been gaining his bona fides amongst the powerless yet numerous factions outside that 1% that's making and changing the rules as they go. Elon has hit a crossroad where he has to assess which currency holds more weight and leverage. Does the multi-billionaire go with the power of the dollar or with the collective support from the pauper? I don't mean to call the people who support Elon paupers, but relatively speaking, in comparison to Elon, to him we are. When we got that big bank, so don't feel no way. But when the question was posed to him, let's see what he said.
But there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself.
But
go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
F-Y.
I understand that, but there's a reality too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda
no,
Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
No, actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
Interesting how the narrative controllers who sell the agendas throw hissy fits when the information wars escapes their grips. Because the lies are prevalent and spreads easily like wildfires, giving a thirst for truth. The lies keep their hearers in bondage to the storyteller's script. That only creates an itch to know the truth. And you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. People respect that, even though they can't go dollar for dollar with the storytellers. They'll hold you down if you got their back. Check this out.
Good Lord! Wow! So as you see on the screen here, just in, users on X are reporting mass cancellations of Disney Plus subscriptions after the Elon Musk interview. Within just hours of Elon Musk's interview, thousands of users have posted screenshots of canceled Disney Plus subscriptions. In addition to Disney Plus, users are also reporting cancellations of Paramount Plus and others. This comes after Elon Musk accused some advertisers of blackmailing X with advertising money. Wow. Disney's CEO Bob Iger was specifically called out. Yes, he was.
Disney Plus has been giving us so many movies, so many stories. I don't want to highlight a story that's stranger than fiction. It's about a time traveler. Take a listen.
Thank you, Chairman Jordan. I'm pleased to be able to join you today to testify on the importance of free expression. I'd like all of you to think of me as a time traveler from the not-too-distant future, coming back to the present to offer you a glimpse of what could lie ahead for America. I live in a time in which, in the name of fairness, you can't share the stories you write for my news publication on social media. I live in a time in which, in the name of the common good, you can be kicked out of your bank and online payment system simply for expressing the wrong political views. I live in a time in which, in the name of social justice, you can commit a serious crime but get a more lenient sentence if you happen to be the right skin color. I live in a time in which, in the name of safety, you can be arrested for exercising your right to peaceful protest if you happen to be protesting the wrong thing. Of course, I'm not a real time traveler, I just live in Canada. First, a few months ago, I reported a story from my publication, The Free Press, about a high school principal in Toronto who had been humiliated in front of his colleagues by a DEI consultant. The humiliation he experienced ultimately led him to commit suicide. I wanted to share that story on Facebook. When I tried to, I was barred from posting it. I received a message that stated, in response to Canadian government legislation, news content can't be shared. I was confused. Then I remembered the recently adopted Online News Act. The law forces social media companies to pay online media companies to link to their content. Facebook, instead of paying for that content, barred its users from posting it. Government officials insist that this is only a matter of fairness, a way of making sure that media companies are compensated for the news they report. But really, this new law props up legacy media dinosaurs like the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, Bell Media, and other companies, which are subsidized by the federal government, and all of which can be counted on to echo Justin Trudeau's worldview and toe the party line. Not being able to post was annoying, but it wasn't the end of the world for me. I don't depend on Facebook for my income. The same cannot be said of Christopher Curtis, which brings me to my second story. Chris is a 38-year-old renegade journalist entrepreneur in Montreal who runs a digital newsletter called The Rover, which means they report stories that don't comport with whatever the government wants them to report. For example, in September 2020, The Rover reported a story on federal mistreatment of Mohawk Indians. This month, it published a story about migrant workers who had been abused and trafficked with the unwitting help of the federal government. But under this new law, The Rover can't build its audience. Unable to post content on Facebook or Instagram, the newsletter can't reach new subscribers. It cannot grow its subscriber base. This is a slow death, says Chris. For now, he's unsure how he's going to support his partner and their 3-year-old daughter.
That was Canadian journalist Rupa Subramania addressing the U.S. Congress about affairs going on in our country currently and felt compelled to sound the alarm. It's fair to say that there's a slippery slope when it comes to going off script. If it was easy to speak truth to power, then I guess everybody would do it. But would you speak it still if it would cost you? For these people, staying on script is rubbing people the wrong way. ESPN's Malika Andrews has become a target for this criticism regarding her level of application of journalism. It has people feeling like she has an agenda that's not complex because of complexion, if you know what I mean. Brothers out here feeling like they always feel the wrath of her tongue that's usually on site when it comes to shooting down the characters by speaking on unflattering stories they involved in, but never seems to have the same energy when it comes to speaking on unflattering stories for their non-black counterparts. Homegirl be spilling tea when nobody asked when it comes to black athletes, but reserves prejudice when her audience wants her to use that aggressive journalism to find out more about stories that aren't being addressed, like Josh Giddey's. But let's hear their excuse for the double standard from her affiliate, Stephen A. Smith.
Without trying to get too involved in it, I feel compelled to get involved because I think that a lot of people are missing the issue involving Josh Giddey to begin with. Josh Giddey is being investigated for allegedly messing with an underage girl. We don't know the facts. And because we don't know the facts, and we represent a network, we have to make sure I's are dotted and T's are crossed before we provide commentary to that. The investigation is ongoing by the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder refuses to comment on it. Josh Giddey refuses to comment on it. And as a result, all we can keep doing is reminding everybody the brother being investigated. When Brandon Miller showed up in South Carolina, you'd have thought he was Hillary Clinton. They were screaming, lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. How in God's name does Malika Andrews not ask that question on draft night? She had to. I'm telling you, me or any other reporter that was in that situation has an obligation to ask a team, an NBA official, or somebody about that question. There's no wiggle room around it. If she hadn't asked that question, the bosses would have been wondering why she had that job. If I was sitting in her chair and I didn't ask that question, since after all he was the number 2 overall pick and he was getting drafted and all of this residue was just months removed, I would have been asked, why do I have my job? That goes for any journalist. So we have to take that into consideration. It's not about protecting Malika Andrews. It's about protecting the industry. It's about understanding and making you understand what comes along with this job. You keep thinking we have choices. We don't always have choices. You have to ask those questions. Now, there does come a point in time where you can stop. You don't have to bring up stuff from years earlier. That's true. But in the Brandon Miller situation, that was not the case. In this Josh Giddey situation, because the situation is so sensitive, you can't go on the air with a strong opinion, sounding accusatory, as if you're indicting someone when an investigation is still open. And neither the league, nor the team, nor Giddey himself, nor the alleged underage person is speaking on the issue. We don't know. We don't know. Des Bryant is somebody we enjoyed as an NFL player. He could ball. He's a good dude. His heart's in the right place. And what he's really, really pointing to is the fact that as black men, sometimes we get a heavy hammer while others get treated considerably with a lighter hand. That offends us. That takes us aback. We don't like it. That's true.
I give you that you have to practice restraint before reporting. We can respect that. Just apply that respect equally and keep that same energy across the board so you don't look like attack dogs for the people signing your checks. That have a clear agenda, demonizing certain demographics over others. Consider yourself updated for now. Until next session, we link up. Spread love and walk good, you hear? God bless, fam.